Welcome to another episode of Manufactured in the Glass City. I'm Brian Blair, your Vice President and Director of Athletics. I'm excited today to introduce somebody that frankly needs no introduction. I think we all know him as the Superintendent of Toledo Public Schools in his 11th year. What many of you may not know, he's a 4-year letter winner and linebacker for the Toledo Rockets and a 3-time graduate of the University of Toledo. Dr. Romules Durant, thanks for joining us today.
No, I appreciate you bringing me on and living up to the legacy of the University of Toledo football. So It's exciting to be here.
Yeah. So we all know you as the superintendent. You're very visible out of the community, but maybe tell us a little bit about your Toledo roots, your upbringing, and what brought you to the university.
You know what? I'm born and raised here in the city of Toledo. When they talk about Mud Maid 419, that's me all the way. Grew up on the east side of Toledo, right there across the Maumee River. And so, you know, in that part of town, most people don't get to. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone. And so we have a saying that people on the east side, everyone who had become something had built something, that at the end of the day, no one's born with a golden spoon or a silver spoon to that matter, but at the same time, you build yourself to become the person that you become. And so just being over there, went to Wade High School. My father was a football coach for many years in the junior league, elementary league, so he had coached me on multiple teams. And so going on to Wade High School, which was the high school that my father attended, my mother attended, most of my aunts, uncles, my cousins, we all had went to Wade High School. And so left Wade High School, I went on to the University of Toledo to play football. And so to speak about that experience, you know, I always tell people, and, you know, I tell the kids that at the same time, nothing is ever given to you, and particularly even myself. And so when I looked at it, and at that time in 93 and 94 of my senior year, I, myself and another gentleman who played at the University of Toledo named Marcus Matthews were the only juniors in the state of Ohio to be Division I All-State performers. And so, you know, you had Vrabel and all these other guys that you see for the Patriots and the NFL. And so, you know, here I went through these accomplishments, and then came my senior year. One of the things that came about was the true implementation of Title IX, meaning that universities were not giving scholarship to equal the playing field for women in athletics and so forth, with pooled scholarship from different programs. And so the football team and all schools across the country lost some of the scholarship in getting provided for female athletics to expand their program. And so what it meant was now things had to become even more competitive. So I tell people I went from stud to dud, meaning that at the end of the day, here I was being looked at by the Big Ten and MAC, and found myself with no scholarship because everyone thought I was going here, was going to do this, and at the end of the day, there I was. And so sitting down with the University of Toledo, they said come into the camp, battle it out. And so after that, it was written in history, and was able to get a scholarship through that process.
Yeah. So you played with MAC champions. I think Ryan Hujak, who we've had on, and I've got to know really an impressive individual. Gary Pinkel was your coach, now the second all-time winningest head coach in Toledo history. Just what was that experience at the university, both as a player, but then also as a student?
You know what? I tell people we had a great system. So when people ask me about our mission and vision and TPS at the district, I say this was instilled and truly practiced at the football level. Most of the things I've learned through leadership has come through the development of the football team, which should be credited to Coach Pinkel and their staff, in essence of how well they brought us through the process. I mean, we were made sure that we understood the mission, the vision, and core commitment. Every year we had acronyms such as FOCUS, for commitment, unity, and success. The next year with Vegas Bowl was sweat and blood, success with effort, attitude, tenacity, be leaders of our dream. All these things I still remember to this day, but that's just how much we drilled down into it. And so these are the things that I brought into the school system, in essence of really understanding what our mission is, what our vision is, and week after week, you may not have people that buy in, but eventually they've all bought in. And so truly being here at the University of Toledo and really seeing the leadership there really helped, and be able to have player athletes who are also being leaders, such as Ryan Hujak being the captain of the offense and moving the ball, but at the same time seeing the heart and courage of O'Shawn Tate, who at the same time may have been undersized in many eyes, but was running through guys that was 3 times the size. I mean, you're talking about 6'5" linebackers weighing 260, with O'Shawn Tate running through them like it was nobody's business. And it motivated everyone just to be able to see that, inspired, because at the same time, he was just really a true athlete, and so was Ryan Hujak. One of the things I loved about Mr. Hujak was that he wasn't scared to take off. You know, sometimes you'll find quarterbacks that try to fit a ball into a situation. What he did was make sure that we were always winning the turnover margin. And that year, we were #1 in the country in turnover margin. And so we were always stripping and pulling at balls just to create turnovers. But at the same time, our offense did what it took necessary to make sure that they weren't giving turnovers. And one of the things I still say to this day to our staff is that when I see something that we created such as a turnover, Coach Pinker would say, this is Toledo beating Toledo. And I would say this is TPS beating TPS. And so these are the things that you pick up, but it's truly been a wealth of experience just to be able to go through the process of an organization here at the University of Toledo.
I love that, and I think as a player, you think back on those experiences and how they cascade into your life. And then our staff heard me talk about our strategic plan, our mission, vision, values, a game plan for what we're trying to do, and everybody on the team knows their role within that game plan. I mean, that's things you learn in football. I mean, we talk about the classroom and the playing surface, but the playing surface is a classroom. Yep. And I think our coaches, in many ways, our teachers, our professors, in terms of how they're teaching our young people to be the best of their craft, but also life lessons, right?
Well, you know, one of the things is, when I finished football, went on to in education, one of the jobs I did was tutor medical students who were going to be pediatric, going on to be physicians. And the area they struggled the most was statistics. They couldn't understand statistics for the life of them. And so coaching helped me be able to teach that. But more importantly, when someone says, where did you learn? Did you do this in Stat 1 and Stat 2? How did you understand statistics so well? I said, football. I said, because every week we had to study the playbook and understand human tendencies. The offensive coordinator had a tendency to call certain calls when the ball was sitting at a certain point of the field. If you understood that person's tendency in the press box, you knew where the play was going to be. Taking statistics in a way of becoming a player but a student of the game. And so we use that same analogy in education. A child makes mistakes using the same habits over and over. How do you intervene within that mistake to get them on the right course to getting the correct answers? And these are things that I've learned through football, truly understanding human interactions in a way that statistically provide probability of success.
Yeah, I love it because I think you and I get in the same room. This is almost too much passion for one studio. We're gonna have to get a bigger room. Tell me a little bit about you as a student. Before you were Dr. Durant, I know you told me this off camera, just kind of balancing the studies and how you viewed attacking the classroom like you attacked the football field.
You know, one of the things was that, again, through development here within the University of Toledo, and you know, I've heard a gentleman speak on this and said that athletes at the university level should be highly recruited by industry, because these are the most developed as well as organized individuals coming off the campus. Meaning that at the end of the day, whether we liked it or not, we were expected to be at winter conditioning at 5 in the morning. Whether we liked it or not, we needed to be on time to work out in the weight room. Whether we liked it or not, we need to make sure that we were prepped and ready for our meeting, pre-practice as well as post-practice. And at the same time, we were expected to execute. What better person do you want working for you than someone who has spent 4 to 5 years going through a system that truly have prepared them to say that these are the ways that bring about success. At the same time, here are habits that you should begin to develop within your own right to be a successful individual within your own positions. Yeah.
Hey, during fall camp, we were at Mountain Union, and Rod Woodson came in, Hall of Fame safety, one of the best to ever do it. And he talked to our team about the difference between discipline and motivation, and how motivation can rise and fall and ebb and flow. But if you got the discipline, that gets you through it. I think so much of that for many of our student athletes, they learn that discipline for 4 or 5 years. It's almost like taking a one-on-one course, and then you take that throughout your life.
Well, and that, you know, another individual considered one of the best heavyweight boxers in the world is Mike Tyson, when he said discipline is about doing the thing that you hate like you love it. And when I think about that, is that, you know, when you think about the intensity of winter conditioning, These were things that we hated to get up for,
Yeah.
but we got ourselves there and we performed and operated as if we loved it. And that was the greatness of the university, but the greatness of this program and why we achieved so much success as a cohort coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the journey from you get your degree here, you kind of go off in the real world. Fast forward, now you're a superintendent of one of the best school districts in the nation.
Yeah.
Kind of walk me through what that journey looks like.
Well, you know what? Coming through, and I think anyone who's an athlete going through as a young person, most people ask, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? And it's always the highest level of that sport, whether it be in the NFL, whether it be in the NBA or the major leagues. And that was kind of the mindset of myself as well. And I could tell you when I came to the University of Toledo, I had two key individuals who had an impact. And, you know, one who was overseeing our performance and our grades and such forth. And he was an educator and he had asked me, you know, have I thought about going in education? And what I had dispelled to him was a misnomer that most people have always said. My mom and dad said there's no money in education. And I remember him tugging on his suit and said, do I look like I'm struggling? I said, no, sir. And so it was through revelation that 2 days later, Damon Ely, the son of Chuck Ely, who was going into become special education, also talked to me about education. And through that process, I felt that it was something that was brought to me in premonition to say, you know what, I should explore this. And through the exploration of doing that, really landed me into going into education. And so what I did was, from that point in time, wrote out an entire program to achieve both bachelor's, master's, and a doctorate degree, understanding that I needed to have that doctorate degree to be perceived, knowing that if I'm going to be young and taken serious, that I have to show the level of high expectations and accomplishment within the educational field in order to land a superintendency. And I was able to be able to do that, and that happened through University of Toledo athletics. That plan I wrote out is a plan that we wrote out every year as a player. What goal do I want to achieve as a player and contribute to this team? What I said was, this is the goal that I want to contribute, but more importantly, achieve in life and be able to write that year over year and then figure out how to get scholarship to pay for it. And just through networking and being very persistent, was able to have all three of my degrees paid for and then received an honorary doctorate degree here from the University of Toledo, which I feel blessed to be able to achieve.
I love that, because I tell our student athletes at the beginning of the year, like, get everything out of this experience. Yeah. Don't let this go by and you don't get everything. And there's a network to be had. There's free education for many of them to be had. But you got to attack it, and you got to approach it with a plan of, here's what I want to get out of this, and then what are the steps to get me to that. And so I hear that from you, but I also hear self-awareness of, if I'm gonna get to this goal in the way I want to, I need to have these pieces of the puzzle checked, because that's gonna position me, regardless of age, regardless of background, to achieve those goals, right? There's a lot there.
No, I mean, there's just a lot. And again, you know, I got told some of the players many times when I speak to them, do not become institutionalized. Don't just do just because someone says to do. Ask information about why you're doing this. You know, when we come and work out, don't just get a card and just say, oh, I'm gonna do these workouts. Find out more information why this workout is organized in a way of different body parts that are set it together. You then walk away as a better informed individual when the life of football is over. And so it's these things that the University of Toledo provides and is showing you and modeling for you. But if, just as you said, if you don't engage into the point of internalizing it, you're going to miss something there. And it's going to be something that you reflect on and say, man, I should have, you know, really took that serious in understanding why we had workout plans the way we did, why they put us on meal plans when we needed to be, why they had 48-hour preparation for us, meaning we would go to Perrysburg 2 days in advance just to be able to make sure that whatever we were doing was focusing on football. We were going to be together as a family, and we were going to be ready to play the game 2 days later. And they had the theory that whatever you did those days prior was going to impact you on game day. And they wanted to make sure that they had good influence on those 48 hours.
Yeah. Love that. And so now you're a superintendent. I think people see you in that role, very visible. But maybe, what does that tenure look like? What are you most proud of? Being TBS the superintendent?
Well, there's a lot that I'm proud about our team and what we've accomplished over the many years. whether it's growth on our grad rate for over 20%, or just the innovative opportunity that we're providing students, which is second to none. And so one of the things that really touched my spirit, I come from the East Side, which is an impoverished community in the 05 zip code. We call ourselves the Nickel. And I said, the day that I saw this young man, that you could tell that he had been born with a rough hand in life, meaning that obviously, he didn't have haircuts, and clothing had to be provided for him and other things. But when I saw this young man flying an airplane, I said to myself, when does a young man at the age of 16 come from the inner city of poverty of the east side of Toledo have an opportunity to fly an airplane and be able to experience that, well enough not get on a plane, but actually operate that plane without someone wanting to provide an opportunity to say, you deserve the opportunity to explore life at the highest of achievement. If it's to be a pilot, you're gonna do that within high school. And so to be able to provide an aviation school at the airport, a natural science academy over at the Metro Park system, a medical hospital or medical school at the hospital and the college, an engineering firm that's aligned to Dana, along with all the major auto industry within the area, and as well as early college that sits right here on your campus. I mean, all these innovative concepts have really earned a lot of accolades on a national scale as well as global scale of really being progressive and taking education to the place of industry. So our early college sits right here on your campus. It's there for a reason. This is called early college. You don't need to be in a neighborhood. You need to be an early college student on the campus. Our aerospace academy is at the airport. You don't need to be in a neighborhood school because there's nothing to learn about aviation in the neighborhood. Let's take the school to the place of industry and let's go to the airport. That's where the kids go for their school, 7th through 12th grade, right there at the airport. The same way with the Metro Parks and Natural Science, the same way at our medical school, you're gonna be at the medical college and the hospital. What better place to learn about medical than to be at the place of industry? And that's kind of the things that, I'm truly appreciative, because at the end of the day, we've gotten stuck into the root of putting schools in comprehensive neighborhoods and other things. And then at the same time, we haven't really thought outside the box about really how to develop a child in the space that they're passionate about. And so they don't lose that energy of wanting to be in school.
I love that, and watching you in the community, I think you're an incredible role model for our young people. You're a tangible example of what can be done, what can be had, regardless of circumstances. I think you're a conduit to education provided at a high level. But what I love most is your innovative spirit, your ability to look at things differently than maybe some others look at it and think, okay, I want to lead from the front. I don't need to copy what everybody else is doing. I think we can do something distinctly for Toledo, by Toledo, with Toledo people. And so much of that is the same plight here, but I love that we have Toledo athletics in common.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I can't say enough about the University of Toledo, its leadership from top all the way through. It had molded a lot of young men, as well as young women in other sports, to go on to do some great and successful things in life.
We talk a little bit about Toledo athletics and the university and your experience, but I mean, take it down a notch in terms of TPS and the role of athletics, even at your level, in terms of that educational mission.
So, I think one of the big things is that, just as some of the things that I walked away with sports, and using it as the leadership development opportunities, having major influence within the schools, major influence within your community. Leadership starts within the home. And so how do you act within that home leadership? Leadership starts within your friends. How do you step up in essence of those leadership at the same time within the team, the school, that broadens within the community? And so just literally being able to use sports as a mechanism, which has helped me develop my own leadership model. It allows us to do the same with students as well as those who are in the peripheral, meaning that there's many individuals who help put this network that we're going on today who may not have played athletics, but merely because they have become enculturated through seeing development, to be exposed to these opportunities, they as well have taken in many of these best kept strategies as well. And so one of the things that I want to make sure with these kids is making sure that they're prepared for life outside of the world of athletics. Do not just put all your eggs in one basket. There's a bigger life and a bigger pool outside of these things. And so, just as I said that I found that out early in high school when I said I went from stud to dud, literally that's kind of what I felt like, man, here I was supposed to be, I'm the man, and how did I end up like this? And I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? And at the end of the day, it's all about getting up and just keep moving forward. And that's just what I did, is that, hey, look, you're gonna take it a work at a time, you're gonna set your goals, you're gonna write your plan out, and at the end of the day, just keep moving forward. And things will work itself out. And one of the beauties of athletics is people are always willing to give a helping hand to support athletes. I tell people there's no reason why you shouldn't be successful. You have the network of support systems surrounding you, not within the organization or university, but within the community within itself, who come to see you play on Fridays or Saturdays every year within the fall season.
Yeah. I come from a big family of educators. My mom was my middle school principal, and so the value of education has been beat into my head from an early age. As you think about TPS and public education and how that impacts the city's future, I mean, what do you think those two, how they fit together?
You know, they have to go hand in hand. So if you look at all the schools that we created and developed, we would not have created them if they weren't connected to the local opportunity of employment within this region. So in other words, I'm selfish about the city of Toledo. I want our talent to stay here within this community to enrich and add wealth to our own community. So put it in perspective, when they say, Dr. Durant, what made you create these schools? Well, one, there wouldn't be an aviation school if there wasn't an airport here in the city of Toledo, that our kids can get employability here at the city of Toledo or in Detroit, which is only 40 minutes up the road. This means employability is high here in this region. In natural science, we have the #1 metro park system in the country. Mm-hmm. We have one within reach of 5 miles of every resident. Someone's got to supervise. Someone had to maintain these parks. We created a school and put it at the location. The #1 employment agency in the city of Toledo is medical. It only makes sense to create a medical school that pipeline to the employability within this region. And so the main thing is what we wanted to be able to educate kids here so they can work here to ultimately live here. Truly providing an economic strategy, in essence of really providing kids who are workforce ready, merely because you aligned yourself with industry within the local region, but more importantly, make sure that that pipeline was seamless in preparation of them starting day one, ready to be an asset to their organization.
No, I love that. I'm selfish about Toledo. I really enjoy that. And you're born here, you're raised here, you went to school here, now you work here. When we talk about manufactured in the Glass City, I mean, what does that mean to you?
You know what? That's coming from that east side, and you know, we call mud made, 419 made, and it's really saying that at the end of the day, the city of Toledo is the backbone of the state of Ohio, and Ohio has become the backbone of the United States, meaning that everything, when you think of this country and what we built here, coming throughout this area and this region has really went a long way. I tell people all the time, and some of you who are listening, understand that the Jeep Wrangler is made in no other place than the city of Toledo. So every time you see a Jeep Wrangler, know that that vehicle is made in the city of Toledo. No matter where you're at in the world or what TV or movies that you're watching, when you see a Wrangler, that's made here, right here in the city of Toledo. And so my wife, I said, look at that. Guess where that's made from? She said, let me guess, the city of Toledo. I said, that's exactly right. And I think these are the things that we keep in heart to be proud of. And that's the same thing for the University of Toledo. Yeah. We are proud of our Rockets, and we hold them dear and near to our hearts. And so to have that same spirit and to be able to have an AD come in and really add energy to that brings excitement to former athletes and current athletes to really be proud about when they walk away, they're coming back to be proud of the same institution that developed them as well as what's developing current young men today.
I had an old football coach. I was hopping on a recruiting call, and he said, hey, if you're juiceless, you're useless. Before we started the call, so he's like, you got to bring the juice. Where does your juice come from? Like, you got this contagious energy, this passion, this zest for life. Where does that come from?
You know what? Came from my dad, and you know, my dad is high energy, and so I tell people is that, you know, particularly young men, is that there's energy, and that's why, you know, I'm always appreciative of my father. And despite our situation, whether it's financial or where we lived, you know, one of the values and wealth that I cherish the most, that he was always there. And to really understand that having a father in your life to mold you in a way you can become to be successful, meaning this energy can go two ways, positive or negative. And if you don't have the right people in your life, and if you don't have the right people willing to intervene in your life, it can go in a whole nother direction. And so I could tell when my father recognized that I had this energy, he put me on the 8th grade football team in the 3rd grade. Because I'm ripping and running with all this energy and this and that. And I found out very quickly, these were 14-year-old, these were like young grown men. I mean, they had hair on their legs. I'm just cracking the school book. And I'm like, and I remember the first and foremost, the first practice, man, this kid, I remember, he was an 8th grader, had hair on his legs, a little goatee, and ran me over bad. And I said to my dad, man, you see what he did to me? And, he's the coach. And I didn't say, 1, get yourself up. And 2, don't ever let someone put you down without giving it your all. And so I was only like 90 pounds, but I can rest for sure that no matter who it was, they won't get all 90 pounds of me. And so by the time I got into the 4th and 5th grade, they would nickname me Hitman because I was taking knees and ankles. I wasn't that big to get up there, but at the end of the day, it really helped. And again, having that father figure really mattered, because he really channeled me in the right direction, and to be able to see that the energy he recognized, he molded to be used in a productive way.
I love the energy. I appreciate you being here today.
Yeah.
It's funny, I was coming down the elevator today and I had a young man in our ticket staff. He gets off the elevator and he sees us walk. He said, hey, Dr. Durant's in the building? And I could tell with his excitement what it meant for you to be in the building. It was like he saw the Beatles or Elvis or a rap star, whatever it may be. He said, did you know Dr. Durant's in the building? I said, yeah, I think I knew he was going to be in the building together. But that's the kind of presence you carry, the respect you garner around the community. Proud to call you a friend and a colleague, and happy to be on this journey with you.
No, I appreciate you bringing it on, and we appreciate all that you brought to the athletics of University of Toledo, the city of Toledo. If you haven't a chance, go on to downtown Toledo Rotary. He did a fantastic presentation that you would be proud of, in essence of speaking about the university, but more importantly, speaking about the city of Toledo. And that's kind of people that we want here in this region, is that they're just not here in essence of using as a stepping stone just as a career. What he was talking about was, how do you make a community better in a position that he holds as an AD, by whether it's concert or other things. And these are the things that I appreciate, and being someone that born and raised here, really have a value and appreciation for what you have done and continue to do and will always continue to do. So thank you again.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
This has been another great episode of Manufacturing in the Glass City. Look forward to seeing you on the next one. Go Rockets.